Hello. Hi, everyone. Good evening from wherever you are. Good evening from here as well. It's almost 4 p.m. my time. Please forgive my face. I'm very strong. Let me use the word strong instead of using a negative word. If you can hear me in the comment section, please put hello in the comment section. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Am I loud enough? Please put hello in the comment section and tell me where you're joining me from. Okay, I can see some hellos. Okay. Olivix, hello. Mr. Ogwike Ikena, hello. Chop Life with JT. I like this name. Oh. Should I join you to Chop Life? Thank you. I like this name. I like this name very well. My personal person, Mr. Roland. Thank you for joining me. Cynthia from Hungary. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, Chop Life. Thank you. Thank you. My person, Mobo. Thank you, Jare, for joining me. My BC people are joining me live. Thank you so much. Today, I have, how will I put, I'm strong, so I won't stay too long on today's live, maybe just 30 minutes. Um, please bear with me. I'm very, very strong this period. This Christmas period has been stretching and a lot of things going on behind the scenes. So I'm just trying to see how I can manage my time with everything, going on. So I'm really grateful that you have joined me on this live. And sadly, I wouldn't spend as much as 1 hour as I used to. I'll just spend 30 minutes, and I'll try as much as possible to be very, very fast in answering your questions. I actually wanted us to talk about Canadian immigration in 2025, what to expect with all the announcements that was made this year. But I don't know if we will be able to do justice to that topic today. So probably I will shift it to 29th of December. That's Sunday, 29th of December, same time, so that we can talk about it, because I feel probably because it will be 3 days to New Year, it will be a better time to talk about it. Today, let me just try to see if I can answer some questions and go back to trying to get better. I am very, very strong. Amen. Thank you so much, JT. Chop Life. I like this name. Please invite me to come and chop life with you. Thank you so much. So I wouldn't waste too much of your time. Like I said, I wouldn't be spending as much as 1 hour on today's live session, so that I can accommodate as much questions as I can. And let's see, whatever we cannot accommodate, we'll move on to Sunday, and then hopefully during the week I'll try as much as possible to push out more answers on the videos. Okay, so the first question, I think this person dropped it early enough for me to see it. I've been SK 21 years, just graduated from a diploma program in tech and want to apply for PR. I haven't been able to get a job in my field and want to know other alternatives. Got a CLB 9. Okay, so a CLB 9 is a very good score. It's just that if you don't have a job offer, and if you didn't have any job offer from your home country, it's going to be difficult applying for permanent residence. I've actually done a video about it where I was advising African parents. I'll say it here again. If you're an African parent and you're sending your children to come and study in Canada at the undergraduate level, it is better for your children to gain 1 year work experience before they come, or they start gaining their work experience remotely. Any job they do remotely, let's say the job is not, because Canada's study permit has 24 hours work limitation. So they cannot work more than 24 hours. But if they get a full-time job, a full-time remote job, maybe in the US or maybe in Germany, UK, Nigeria, they can use that work experience and apply for permanent residence, which will be beneficial to them. So it doesn't look like throughout their undergraduate days they were not working, because technically the 24 hours work experience does not really count, but the remote work experience will count for them. So if they have that remote work experience and they finish, they can always create an express entry profile and be able to get an invitation to apply without necessarily getting a job offer in the province that they live in. But in this case now, he's in Saskatchewan. So I don't know if he had a remote work experience or he had any work experience prior to coming to Canada that he could use to create an express entry profile. And then if he's going to look at the provincial nomination route for Saskatchewan, he needs to get a job offer in Saskatchewan before he can apply for provincial nomination. So that is a requirement, but it should not stop him from trying to get a job offer, even if it is outside Canada at this point, so that the time can start counting for him. If that's him or she, I don't know whether I don't know the gender. Please forgive me if I am not giving you the right gender. So if you don't have any work experience at all and you're still looking for a job, I would advise that you try to get a remote job. If nothing is working for you in Canada, try as much as possible to get a remote job. With the experience, the remote work experience, you can use it to create your express entry profile. And it depends on how high your comprehensive ranking score will be. There's a possibility of getting an invitation to apply instead of waiting to get a job in Canada. If you're able to get a job in Saskatchewan, fine, then you'll be eligible for the provincial nomination. But of course, with Saskatchewan, I don't know why they are doing this. Ontario does it. Saskatchewan is doing it. I don't know why. Manitoba and places like New Brunswick, they don't do that. For Saskatchewan, you must have a job approval letter from your employer. And that job approval letter is what will give you the provincial nomination. So if you don't have a job offer and your employer is not willing to give you a job approval letter, it means you cannot even apply for provincial nomination. So when you're looking for a job, please put it at the back of your mind that the employer must be able to give you a job approval letter for you to be able to submit your application for provincial nomination. Okay, so that's the first question. The next question I will take is, I'm currently rounding up a master's in social work in the UK, early 40s, age factor may be a challenge to open an EE. What options can I potentially explore? Okay, so because of age, I would recommend you look for work. Once they announce the rural immigration class communities, look for work in those communities. That's the best advice I can give. With your UK experience, you are a top candidate. Candidates from the UK are highly preferred compared to candidates from Nigeria or any other African country. So your master's in social work plus your UK work experience, once they announce the communities that are eligible for the rural community immigration class, please start dropping your resume so that you can be considered for an offer of employment, and then you can immigrate under that class, because that's the only pathway that I would say accommodates people with a high age range between the age of 40. You can't technically create a profile except you have French language skills and maybe you have a sibling in Canada to add to your point. So please watch out for the communities. The moment they announce the communities, don't waste time. Start applying for jobs in those places. Luckily, one of my person who got a job offer under RNIP, she's part of this live. I mentioned her name, but I'm not gonna mention her name. She's part of this live. She's currently in British Columbia, and I'm happy that she's joining us in this session. And she will attest to the fact that I told her the same thing at that time, and that was what she did that brought her in from the UK. Okay, so I'll move on to the next. Asking on behalf of a colleague, she submitted a PGWP extension via online. She's considering submitting a new one on paper. Any implications? Well, I would say I have done this for somebody. We submitted online, and as a backup, she did for the paper. The reason why she did for the online one was to get that interim authorization to work, because most of the employers, once they see that your work permit is expiring, they'll start asking questions on whether you have as in, what are you doing concerning the extension of your status. They don't want to know if your work permit extension or your work permit was actually tied to the passport that expired, or was expiring. So I did it for somebody, and IRCC approved it. We did online and then also did offline paper application as well. But the thing about online is that you're going to be paying double money for the application fees, because if you submit online, you're paying at once. If you're submitting via paper, you have to now pay independently and attach the application fees to the paper application. So like I said, I did it for somebody and they responded that they have reopened her PDWP and extended it to the duration of the program of studies. And then was it withdrawal or cancellation? I can't remember the right word they used for it, but that was the letter we got. So at the end of the day, she had to withdraw the paper application because that's where she paid independently, and then she's going to request for refund based on the fees she paid. So if you want to do that, I would say you should do that, because I have done it and it was successful. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. We are ready to go for Christmas. I pray that I'm very, very strong this Christmas period. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. I hope. Okay, how can Chop Life? I like this name. I don't know. I like this name so much. Okay. My website link is actually in the description box of this video, of my videos or any video. Yeah, you will see the website. What is www.caninfoconsult.com. So you can book via the website for a one-on-one session. Okay. So is it advisable to come to study in Canada with a study loan? Also, is coming to study in Canada worth it with all these immigration issues? And yes, I agree that you're having cold feet, which is quite okay, because with all the news going on, anybody who is outside now will be afraid of what is going to happen to me. What's going to happen to me if I spend that money to come here? Will they now change the rules, and then will I go back to square one? So let me, before I go into that, answering that question, let me answer the first part. The first part, it says, is it advisable to come to study in Canada with a study loan? Yes, study loan is good, especially if there is a long payment plan. There are people who have long payment plan of about maybe 10 years after studies, and the payment plan doesn't typically kick in until after 6 months after they graduate. So you have 6 months to be able to get a job. And then when you do your payment plan, maybe like $50 per month, $100 per month, depending on where you get the loan from. Like Empower, I think it's about $100 per month they deduct from your salary, which gives you enough time to pay back, and the interest is not that much. So study loan, yes, I support it, especially if you are eligible for a study loan. Then first, I would say you should also explore the aspect of getting scholarships. If you have good grades, explore scholarships. I think I did a live session that was some years ago with a lady, Miriam, on scholarships in Canada, how she got a scholarship to come in. I would recommend you watch that video. I will leave the link of the video in the description box after this live, so that you can have access to that video and watch how you can get scholarships to come in. So you can come in with study loan, you can come in with scholarships as well. Then, is Canada worth it this time around? I will be sincere with you. This time around, they are looking at the numbers. They're looking at the numbers that they would approve. And your application has to be very tight. Is permanent residence application still going on? Yes, it's still going on. What are the numbers for PR? The number is about 368 or 370,000 for 2025, right? Now, we have a lot of temporary residents in Canada that are working towards being part of that permanent resident numbers. And you also have lots of people who have lost their status, who are trying to see how they can, regain their status, and who don't know if they will be asked to leave, or if I'm not asked, they have asked them to leave, but they have not left, so they have gone under. So if they are able to get the numbers right, let's say a number of people are able to get their PRO, and then you have fewer people left as temporary residents, then yes. So in essence, we will have few people come in next year. There will be fewer approvals. If they were approving, let's say, 1 million before, and they said the cap for study permit is about 300,000 in 2025, I'll tell you the truth. In that study permit cap that they put for 2025, there are still people within Canada who are extending their status as students. So they are counting those numbers among that 300,000. I'm just assuming that's the 300,000 because I don't have the figures off my head. Those people who are already in Canada, some of them are extending their status. So they will be counted among the 300,000. So whatever is left of that 300,000, for instance, if 100,000 people in Canada already extend their study permit status, right? The number they will now approve from outside will only be 200,000. Now, if you want to be a part of that 200,000, you have to be very, very sure that your application is a strong application. Strong one in the sense that besides having the student loan, at least you should have paid your tuition. If you pay your tuition to a large extent, and then the student loan covers your living expense, then you should be among the people that they should be approving the applications. But if there is no form of tuition payment and you're just relying on the student loan, they will refuse the application. I have seen such situations where they refused the application because the student was just lying on an Empower loan. Funny enough, Empower gave the student $100,000 loan, but IRCC still refused the application because the student did not show any money of her own. So for you to mitigate against a refusal, you should at least pay your tuition and then let the issue of your living expense be handled by the Empower loan. That's if you're taking Empower loan, because I don't know which loan you're taking. So I'm just assuming it's Empower, right? So let it be handled by the loan, but you still have your own money in your account. Have small money. I'm not saying at least you should have maybe 30,000 or 40,000. If you have at least a 10,000 card in your own account and then supporting it with the loan, and then you have paid your tuition, then you're a strong candidate for an approval. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. I did MSc social work since 2019, but because of language barriers, I couldn't practice. So I went back for 1 year chef course, and I'm currently running a Nigerian kitchen in Budapest. Okay, so the same advice I gave to the lady in the UK, if you're in Budapest, anywhere in the world besides Nigeria and Africa, and you have social work experience, right? Once the communities for the rural community immigration class are announced, please start looking for work with your experience as a chef as well, because the community might be looking for work, they might be looking for chef, and even Alberta rural communities as well, they're also looking for chefs as well. So maybe you should try that one as well. You can use your chef experience. You can also use your, what do you call it now, use your social work experience if you have social work. But since you say you're running a Nigerian kitchen, I don't know whether you have experience in cooking intercontinental dishes. I don't know whether you have experience in that. If you have experience, then you're a good candidate. Okay, so I'm seeing your second question saying that you have a 6.5. So look for work in the Alberta rural renewal communities. That's number one. And then once they announce the rural community immigration class, also look for work in those places using your two experiences. So you have to create a resume that aligns with your experiences. Maybe one for social work and then the other one for chef. Okay. Next question. A guy has applied for temporary resident permit because he's out of status currently. Can the wife apply as a nurse from Ghana, or will the out of status of husband affect the source of success of the wife? Yes. So as long as he is already out of status, now temporary resident permit is actually for people who are outside Canada and they must have done something that made them inadmissible, right? They must have done something that made them not eligible to enter Canada, but maybe they have a family member in Canada that needs their presence. That is when they apply for temporary residence permit, because temporary residence permit is different from temporary resident visa. So please understand the two. So I don't know if he's in Canada. Okay, you mentioned he's in Canada and out of status, and for him to be applying for temporary resident permit, his application will be rejected because he's actually not eligible. It's for people who are outside Canada, and then also people who I don't know, maybe, okay, so let's say people who are outside Canada, people who are inside some group of people, but it's not coming to my head right now, the group of people, but I will mention them. For him to be out of status, I don't know the reason why he went out of status. Now, can the wife apply to come and join him in Canada? The chances of approval is quite low. Very, very low, in the sense that the person that she's supposed to put as a tie back to her home country in Ghana is actually in Canada and is out of status. And funny enough, her application might even trigger a lot of investigations into the status of the husband. So they might not approve her application, sadly. Okay. So next question. Okay, thank you for helping the immigrant community. Thank you also for being part of this community. I really appreciate all of you joining this live session. I mean, taking your time to be with me on this session. Okay, so can a full-time and non-seasonal offer letter stating 3 months probationary period for confirmation be submitted as an acceptable job offer? Yes, it's an acceptable job offer. I mean, every offer of employment typically have that clause, right, where you have the probationary period. So it's an acceptable job offer. I don't know what you want to use it for, whether you want to use it for express entry or you want to use it for provincial nomination, but either of these two, it's an acceptable job offer. Okay, I'll move on to the next. NOC is 44101 as a residential support worker with a full-time job and my employer willing to support me. Which stream can I explore in BC? So the stream you can explore is the low skill stream. But first of all, check the healthcare stream, whether that NOC code is listed as part of the NOC code. I don't think so, but check the healthcare stream if your tier code is listed there. If it is not listed there to be under the low skill stream. Okay, chemical engineer working in pharmaceutical company with short-term courses to be done to get selected in healthcare draws, and which PNP is best for you, for me? Okay, so, well, if you're a chemical engineer working in a pharmaceutical company, it doesn't mean you qualify for the healthcare draw, because if you look at the healthcare category-based draw, they have specific occupations. Now, your educational qualification is a challenge, because even if you're selected under the healthcare draw and your educational, that's your bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. Okay, well, chemical engineering, there's a little bit of relationship. I don't know if part of your program had anything to do with pharmaceuticals in it. Now, look at the category-based draw and look at which occupation actually aligns with your job description. In terms of short-term courses, I do not have any that I can recommend, but you can look at your job description and see what occupation does it align with. If the occupation that you choose aligns with your job description, that means you have to put the occupation on Google and just put short-term courses by the side of it, and it will come up with options that you could do. But in terms of recommending short-term courses, I do not have any idea concerning that, especially because it's a specialized, pharmaceutical is a specialized field, so I cannot make any recommendation with that. Now, in terms of PNP that is best for you, if you're still looking at the healthcare occupation, we have the Ontario Provincial Nomination. That's one option. And then you can also look at Saskatchewan Provincial Nomination. Those two provinces, they have opportunities for healthcare. But you have to be very, very sure that your job description actually aligns with the job or with the occupation that is in demand. So I'll move on to the next. Comprehensive ranking score is 347? Okay, 347. Created a profile, IELTS 7. I have an HND in mechanical engineering and a rope access certificate, internationally recognized. What option? HND in mechanical engineering and a rope access certificate. Okay, so you will explain further to me what your rope access certificate will help you do in terms of work? What would you use it to do in the trades category, right? You're already a mechanical engineer, which I mean automatically tells me that you can also fall under the trades occupations. So if you fall under the trades occupation, you are eligible for the category based draw for trades, right? But then if you don't have any experience in the trades occupation like plumbing, welding, there are lots of trades. I think about 10 occupations listed under trades. If you don't have any experience in those trades occupation, that means you are not eligible. So look at the trades occupation under the category based draw and see whether you're eligible for any of the occupations. Then you can also be eligible for the Ontario Provincial Nomination trades category, trades occupations as well. But you need to mention which occupation you have been doing. I don't know your occupation, so I am not really able to give a proper advice there. Okay. Can one work full-time after first course is done while waiting for resumption of second program? Yes, if your school is on holiday, you can work full-time. So let's say you finish your spring semester, you're waiting for the summer semester or the fall semester. That long break that you have, you can work full-time because you're not in school. The moment school starts and you start classes, you are going back to the limited number of hours to work in Canada. Okay, I will put the link again. I don't know why people keep complaining about this. I'll put the link again so that you can have it. Can I apply for care assistant or personal support work with my BSc accounting already evaluated by West? I have 3 years work experience in health and admin assistant. Okay, so I think I've done a video where I answered this question and I said that if you are working as a care assistant or personal support worker and you do not have any qualification that aligns, it means that if you are trying to apply for PRO, they will suspect your experience, right? You're saying that you have health and admin assistant experience, but the health and admin assistant, does the job description align with care assistant and personal support work? If it does not align, it means that you are not eligible. You have to get a work experience that aligns with care assistant and personal support. And then in addition to that, you should also try to get a certification that aligns with care assistant and personal support work. Because, I mean, having just your BSc in accounting is not sufficient enough. They will not be able to believe that you can do the job, especially if a visa officer is looking at it. I mean, put yourself in the visa officer's shoes. If they are looking at your application, you say you have experience. How did you learn to be a care assistant or a personal support worker without any educational qualification? Did you learn on the job? It's possible, but then to convince them well, it's better to get a qualification that aligns with the experience. Okay. What is the best way for a 50 years old with work experience in both administration and customer service in possession of a visitor's visa? So administration and customer service, I would say the options that is available for anybody that has or that falls within the age range of, let's say, 40, or let me put it down a little bit, to 35 to and above, 35 to 55, is getting a job offer in any of the communities. I've mentioned it again, in any of the communities under the rural community immigration class, or Alberta rural renewal stream, or British Columbia, either of these 3 places. There are opportunities for customer service jobs that you can find there. But it's as in Alberta rural renewal stream, there are opportunities for administration and customer service. I think I did a video for one community like that, and I saw one advert for administrative officer or something like that. So if your focus is, if you focus your job search on the rural communities in Alberta, especially the communities that have been selected for the Alberta rural renewal stream, and you get a job offer, that means you can apply for community recommendation. With the community recommendation, you apply for provincial nomination. And the last video I did, or that I uploaded yesterday, I showed you where, or I demonstrated where you can apply for PR without using express entry. The portal is for provincial nomination and other immigration options. So for your age, I'll recommend looking for a job. if you can also pivot, right? If you can pivot to healthcare, if you can do a PSW certification that can help you get a job offer in healthcare, that would also help as well. Because I mean, administration and customer service is quite competitive to get. So I would recommend you pivot into something that there is always demand for people. Okay, I just have 1 more minute, so I don't know how we will do this. I mentioned that I'll just spend 30 minutes on this live. Maybe I should just add 5 more minutes, and then please, if I don't answer your questions on this live, I'll try as much as possible to create videos that would answer them throughout this week, so that by next week there will be no backlog. Please bear with me. Okay, next question. Pharmacist with a score of 350 on the EE, score dropped to 20 points after adding husband. What are the PNP recommendations? PNP recommendation number 1 is Ontario. Number 2 is Saskatchewan. Ontario, and also British Columbia as well. British Columbia is also another option, but BC and Saskatchewan, you need a job offer. But Ontario, they pick you directly from the pool. But if your scores are not high enough, I don't know if you'll be able to be selected from the pool. So I would recommend you. Some people do it. They remove their spouses, because they know if they add their spouse, their points reduces. So they remove their spouse, get the PR, and then sponsor their spouse to come in under the spousal sponsorship. That's what some people do. But you must have genuine reason for doing that anyway, not because your points are down. Okay, so next question. I have about 8 years work experience in tech. I have a PhD in computer science, and I have done WES, above 40 language tests, CLB 6.0. Okay, work experience in tech, PhD. Wow. Okay, so with a PhD, I don't know how recent your PhD is. With a PhD, you could get postdoctoral opportunities within Canada that can allow you work for 1 year at least, and then you become eligible for the Canadian Experience class, and also depending on the province you go to. So for provinces like British Columbia, if you're a lecturer or a postdoctoral fellow, let's say you get postdoctoral opportunity, and then you also get a lecturing opportunity in BC, then you qualify for the BC provincial nomination. So my recommendation is, if you can try to get a postdoc opportunity in any of the universities or college, I don't know what colleges they do postdoc, but any of the universities in BC, right? And then once you start working, at least you'll be eligible for provincial nomination in British Columbia. Oh, PGD. Okay, so you said PGD, not PhD. Sorry, PGD, not PhD. Okay, so since it's a PGD in computer science, the chances are quite slim, except maybe you get a job offer. Because tech these days, the tech companies or the tech industry is going through its own series of layoffs. Those of us who are, today you hear Amazon is laying off, tomorrow you hear Facebook is laying off, and all of that. So tech is going through its own challenges, and that is why I feel that IRCC even paused the tech tech category-based draw. That's why I feel that they paused it. So, but then if you're able to get a job offer, fine. So watch out for the rural community immigration class, the community that they will advertise. If you see opportunities there, get a job offer and you are good to go. Okay, my friend, a PR in MB, has 24 years son in Nigeria, Bachelor of Chemical Engineering, working in the marketing department of chemical manufacturing, no certificates in marketing. Which pathway? Okay, your friend is a permanent resident in Manitoba and has a 24 years old son, which I understand. Okay, so your friend can actually put in his application or expression of interest for Manitoba. It's just that for a long while now, Manitoba has not done anything related to family support draws. For a long while, they've not done anything related to that. I don't know whether they will do any surprise draw before the year runs out. For him, since his parents are already permanent residents, he could pivot to trades. Instead of marketing, let him pivot to trades and at least get 6 months work experience so that he can be eligible for the trades draw. The trades draw is quite low. That would help him because with his parents being permanent resident, it will also give him 15 points. Sadly, they cannot sponsor him. They cannot sponsor him, especially if he has, if they got their PRO without him, that means they cannot sponsor him. So he qualifies for the trade draw if he's able to pivot into trade, because marketing is not in demand anywhere. Marketing is not in demand anywhere. So he has to pivot into a career that is in demand, and I would recommend trades. At least get 6 months work experience, 6 months to 1 year work experience in trades so that he can be eligible for the trades draw. Okay, so this is the last question I will take for today. I'm so sorry. It's looking like it's so short. Please bear with me. I'll try as much as possible to extract the questions and create content or video content throughout this week to respond to the questions before the end of this week. Okay. How do I search for a healthcare job in Canada when I am not in Canada? Do I need to go on Google or do you have a site? Okay, so the number one government site that have jobs published is the job bank, jobbank.gc.ca. That's the number one government site. And then you have other sites, other provincial websites that you can search for jobs. I don't know what kind of healthcare job you're looking for. If you're looking for a personal support work job, or are you looking for nursing job, is not possible because you need to get your nursing license for you to be able to work in Canada as a nurse. But if you're looking for a personal support work job and you're a nurse, then just go to Job Bank, because all the jobs that are advertised in the other websites are also published on that Job Bank as well. So the website is Job Bank, www.jobbank.gc.ca. That's the website. Okay, so that is the much I can do for today. I am so sorry that today's session is very short. I really need to take care of myself. Please bear with me. Please. I will try to extract the questions in the comment section and respond to them via videos so that you can have your answers. And thank you so much for joining me on this session. Hopefully next week Sunday we would really talk about the topic I intended for us to talk about today, instead of us answering questions. Please, next week Sunday, if it means me staying for 2 hours, I don't mind to be answering your questions. Okay, thank you and have a good evening. Bye.